Hello friends, I am Arpit and now I am here with the Yojana analysis part 4th for the month of March 2025. Now in the previous 3 parts we've covered 6 topics. In each part we've covered two topics. First part we covered fiscal federalism in India, where we talked about sharing of taxes from the center to the states. Then roadmap for Viksit Bharat by 2047, second topic. In the second video, we covered investment as an engine of growth and agriculture engine for India's development. In the third, that is the previous one, we covered gender budgeting and green budgeting, these two topics. Now in this particular topic, or in this particular video, we'll be covering two topics. First is budget 2025-26 towards tax reforms. We will be talking about multiple reforms, tax reforms which the government of India has undertaken. These tax reforms are aiming towards administrative conveniences, less tax burden. Less tax burden means more cash available or more money available with the people, which can further lead to more investment. So that are the basic aims of these tax reforms. Then second topic which we will be covering is about infrastructure development, what the budget is focusing upon or how the budget is focusing upon the infrastructure sector, which is a very crucial component for India's development story. So let us get started with the first topic, that is towards tax reforms in budget 2025-26. See, reforms are one thing which need to be done continuously. If we stop doing reforms, stagnancy comes, and that is not good for any economy. 1991 LPG reforms were the biggest economic reforms in India's independent history till now. But yes, after that also multiple reforms have been undertaken. Like for example, GST, introduction of GST was a major taxation reform. So other reforms, small reforms have been done, and these small reforms will have a large impact on the overall economic growth of the country. So this year's, that is 2025-26 finance bill focuses on reducing tax burdens, promoting investment. Tax burdens will be reduced means people will be having more money at their disposal. More money at their disposal means more investment, and simplifying processes to create a fair and efficient tax system. Aims of the reforms: first is simplifying tax compliance and reducing administrative burdens. We have to reduce that. Second is rationalizing tax rates to boost disposable income and investment. Disposable income will increase, so definitely we will go towards more investment. Encouraging voluntary compliance over punitive enforcement. Voluntary compliance means people should themselves come forward despite punitive enforcement. Enhancing digital tax administration for efficiency and dispute resolution. This will bring efficiency, this will bring transparency also in the taxation system. So these are the broad aims of these reforms which are undertaken in the taxation setup. Now, relief for the middle class. Lower taxes, higher disposable income. First of all, restructuring of the personal income tax slabs was done. The previous rate, up to 5 lakh rupees income, 0% tax, 0% tax over here also. 5 lakh to 8 lakh it was 10%, now it is 5%. 8 lakh to 12 lakh it was 15%, now it is 10%. Above 12 lakh it was 20 to 30%, now it is 20%. And one major reform over here is that if you have an income up to rupees 12 lakh, then you will be practically paying zero tax. You might be saying, sir, why? Because here, 8 to 12 lakh you have 10% taxation is done, but there are certain exemptions which are being given to you as per the Income Tax Act, and roughly speaking the tax you have to give is somewhere around 80,000, and 80,000's deduction is being given to you, or rebate is being given to you as per a clause in the Income Tax Act, and that practically makes your tax zero. Tax zero means more disposable income. More disposable income means more investment from you. So this is how it is. Key benefits: higher disposable income, more money in the hands of the individuals, which leads to increased consumption and savings. Boost to demand, increased household spendings, drives economic activity across sectors. simplified taxation, removal of unnecessary complexity in the multilateral or multi-tiered tax system. That will be the key benefits of this particular tax reform in this income tax slab. There is another reform done in the property tax domain. Previously, homeowners faced restrictions when claiming nil annual value for their second self-occupied house. Means if a owner has more than one house, then these kind of problems were being faced. The 2025-26 budget removes these restrictions, ensuring individuals are not unfairly penalized for owning multiple properties. They can own and they have to pay obviously taxes on that. So, but restrictions are removed. Then key compliance reforms undertaken. So, ITR filing deadline, earlier we were allowed for 24 months to file updated returns. Now it has been extended to 48 months. Means you can file returns, if you have not filed returns for 4 years, you can file returns of previous 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, like this. Presumptive taxation for NRIs, no clear provision, but now introduced for services related to electronic manufacturing. The impact will be greater tax clarity for foreign investment. TDS is tax deduction at source. If someone is receiving any payment, then the pay will be deducting the money, that is 10%. Largely it is 10% TDS. In certain services it is different also, but largely it is 10%, and the receiver will receive that deducted amount, means 10% is deducted from that as tax, and the payee will submit that tax to the government directly in the name of the receiver. Now what used to happen? Higher TDS TCS rates for non-filers. Those who were not filing income tax returns, for them the TDS rates were higher. It eliminates excessive deductions. Whatever is the rate is the rate. Prevents disruption of business cash flows. So that disruption is prevented. Then criminal liability for TCS delay. TCS delays could lead to criminal prosecution. Now it is monetary penalties only. So penalization has also been, bit human, I would say. Now the benefits of compliance reforms: reduced litigation it will lead to, encouragement of voluntary compliance, people will voluntarily comply, smoother cash flows for businesses will also happen, because TDS and all do not have to be deducted, much TDS do not have to be deducted, the same amount of DDS will be deducted. So the business owners who are receiving money from somewhere and that payee is deducting TDS, now standard deduction will be there of the TDS, not more than that. Then key investment sector reforms. Startups reforms introduced, tax benefits extended for business incorporated until April 1, 2030. So we are thinking 5 years down the line also. Supports new ventures, drives innovation and creates jobs. Shipping industry, new tonnage tax scheme for Indian shipping companies. Strengthens the maritime sector and promotes inland water transport. Then international financial services centers, IFSC, exemptions on capital gains and dividends for ship leasing units. Attracts global financial investors, enhancing India's role in global finance. So these are, I would say, investment sector reforms, and the impact of these investment sector reforms, it will strengthen MSMEs and startups, leading to job creation. It will boost India's global competitiveness in financial services and logistics, and definitely it will attract foreign investments. So all this will happen, and these reforms, they are undertaken for the benefit, they are undertaken for the good, and just we hope that whatever is the intended benefits of these kind of reforms, those intended benefits should become reality. That is why these reforms are undertaken, and such kind of reforms we should keep on undertaking such kind of reforms. Then only our economy will keep on growing and growing. Stagnancy will not come. Now coming to the second topic, that is about infrastructure. So in budget 2025-26, what all we had for this infrastructure? Infrastructure is one of the key ingredients for economic development. Not only in India, but anywhere in the world. If infrastructure development is not there, we cannot expect too much of economic development. Whether it be the shipbuilding industry, whether it be roads, railways, urban infrastructure, anything. Infrastructure is one core ingredient of development. So India's infrastructure development is shifting from merely catching up to setting global benchmarks. We are creating, state-of-the-art infrastructure, and we are setting global benchmarks also. Over the past decade, the country has made significant strides. The Union Budget of 2025-26 and the Economic Survey outline an ambitious path to achieving a $30 trillion economy by 2047. Currently, we are somewhere around $4 trillion, with key focus on shipbuilding, urban development, and renewable energy. This budget marks the beginning of a new phase in India's infrastructure modernization, aiming to boost economic growth and global competitiveness. So 2014 to 2024, these last 10 years, what has been the, I would say, major development? When I talk about national highways, there were 91,287 kilometers of national highways then, and now it is 1,46,145 kilometers. 60% increase, and it has reduced the logistics cost by 15%. Rural roads, 3.74 lakh kilometers of rural roads built under Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana, linking 7.55 lakh habitations, enhancing rural connectivity and economic opportunities. Shipping and ports, India's global shipping ranking improved from 44th to 22nd now, and port cargo handling capacity doubled to 1630 million tons. 95% of our import-export happens through the waters. 95%. And we need shipbuilding. We are, paying a lot of, I would say, shippers which are of foreign descent. Means we have to pay them in foreign currency. Just imagine if they are of Indian origin. We'll have to pay them in rupees. So less reliance on, or less dependency on dollars, I would say. Metro rails expanded from fourfold, 248 kilometers in 2014 to 993 kilometers in 2024, improving urban mobility and decongesting the cities. And that is green mobility also. Then urban infrastructure and housing, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban is there, Smart Cities Mission is there, upgraded infrastructure in 100 cities, improving urban sustainability and livability. Economic growth via capital expenditure, that is CAPEX. So 38.8% cumulative annual growth rate FY20 to FY24, playing a pivotal role in post-COVID economic revival. So during COVID, the CAPEX rose exponentially, and since then CAPEX has been rising. So cumulative annual growth rate, if I talk about it, it is somewhere around 40% in CAPEX. So that is very important. How regulatory reforms transformed India's growth story. So there were multiple regulatory reforms done, especially in the real estate and construction sector. RERA was introduced as a law. It increased transparency, protected home buyers, and boosted investor confidence in the real estate sector. GST 2017 it was introduced. It simplified taxation, reduced logistics costs, and promoted supply chain efficiency. Benami Transactions Act curbed illegal transactions, promoting formalization in real estate. And demonetization in 2016 also had a formidable impact in the real estate sector because it increased digital transactions, improving financial transparency in real estate. So real estate was one such bastion of black money, and that was impacted. Impact on real estate and infrastructure. So institutional investments in real estate reached record heights. Real estate investment trusts created new avenues for investment. The National Infrastructure Pipeline and Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti Yojana is also one such scheme which created a formidable amount of impact on the real estate sector. Now, what was there in this budget for infrastructure? Let us see. To urban transformation initiatives like Urban Challenge Fund, 1 lakh crore rupees, we discussed in the previous videos as well. This was allocated for financing smart cities, water infrastructure, transit-oriented development. Metro rail expansion, a target of 1500 kilometers of metro lines by 2030. Presently, it is somewhere around 933 kilometers. We saw that. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Urban 2.2 lakh crore rupees allocated to build 80 lakh affordable houses in the urban areas. Then renewable energy and sustainability, focus on green hydrogen, battery storage and energy efficient urban planning has been taken into picture. Investments in the solar and wind energy to maintain India's leadership in renewables was also focused upon. This is what green budgeting in the previous video we talked about is. Then shipbuilding. So shipbuilding has taken a center stage. Now since India's international, I would say, integration is increasing, international trade is increasing, so we need to focus upon shipbuilding. So we'll see some statistics with respect to shipbuilding and why the focus on shipbuilding is important. So why shipbuilding is critical for India? It is a maritime dependent economy. 95% of its trade, international trade, happens through waters and it is increasing. There is limited ship ownership of Indians. So India owns only 1526 ships, 13.75 million gigatons compared to China's 12,800 ships. So there is very less. Now since we are dependent upon foreign ships, so we have to give those foreign companies who own those ships payment for logistics, and that goes in foreign currency. Just imagine if those ship owners are Indians, more and more. Payment will go in INR, that will benefit us. And since they will be eligible to take payments from other countries also, they can bring in dollars or they can demand INR. The demand for INR will also increase in other countries. Negligible shipbuilding market share. India holds just 0.07% of the global shipbuilding market, while China controls 46.6%. High foreign freight payments. India spends $75 billion annually on foreign freight. This is what we pay to the foreign ship owners. A figure expected to rise above $100 billion soon if we do not create our own ship owners, or if we do not focus on developing the shipbuilding industry in the country. The Budget 2025's strategy to boost shipping. Infrastructure status for shipbuilding is now included in the Harmonized Master List (HML), making it eligible for low interest financing and tax incentives. Maritime Development Fund of 25,000 crore has been allocated to support shipbuilding. Custom duty exemptions on ship components to reduce manufacturing costs. Ship breaking credit notes, 40% of scrap value reimbursed to promote domestic recycling. The outdated ships or the dysfunctional ships, they are going into scrap. So 40% of scrap value is reimbursed to promote domestic recycling. Employment generation, 2.1 lakh direct and 14 lakh indirect jobs currently in shipbuilding, and these can go up exponentially. Target is 5 million jobs by 2030, benefiting coastal states like Gujarat, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, Maharashtra and Goa. So that is again a lot of potential over here. Legislative reforms in the maritime sector. We need to do that as well. To complement the budget initiatives, the winter session of 2024 introduced 4 key bills. The Coastal Shipping Bill 2024, it creates a comprehensive regulatory framework for coastal trade. Merchant Shipping Bill 2024 expands vessel ownership to NRIs, OCIs and Indian companies. Carriage of Goods by Sea Bill 2024, it streamlines legal responsibilities and dispute resolution, and Bills of Landing Bill 2024 modernizes shipping documentation. So government has started focusing on this sector, and the focus is kind of necessary now. It has become necessary. So these bills are expected to improve ease of doing business, streamlining operations and reducing litigations from this particular sector. So that is why they are important. Now I would say in this table we can see some issues and what has been adopted in this budget to tackle these issues. Shipbuilding market share 0.07%, rank is 22nd. Target is to be in top 10 by 2030. Boost manufacturing capabilities and global competitiveness. Ship ownership, 1526 ships, we know that. Expand fleet significantly. Reduce dependency on foreign freight and strengthen maritime self-reliance. Freight payment, $75 billion per year. Reduce reliance on foreign freight, save foreign exchange and reduce vulnerability. That definitely is going to happen if more and more shipbuilders of India come across. Employment, 2.1 lakh direct jobs, Target is 5 million by 2030. Boost coastal economies, creating millions of jobs. Investment and financing. Limited domestic funding. 25,000 crore rupees fund is there. Supports shipyards, R&D and infrastructure growth. So all these can be done with respect to the shipbuilding industry. The government has started taking steps and let's see how they fructify. Now with this, we have come to an end of the Yojana analysis completely for the month of March 2025. It was all about budget and we've covered budget in daily analysis also. But yes, these things were different perspectives which we did not cover and we have now covered in Yojana. Now that is our aim, that we need to cover everything holistically, and through that budget analysis we covered, now the gaps were filled or we got a new perspective through this Yojana, and very important this month's Yojana was. So with this we come to an end and I'll be meeting you with the next month's Yojana, and till then I'll be meeting you for daily analysis every day, and till then you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, and most importantly keep revising. Namaste, Jai Hind.